Hi friends, and welcome back to MV Stories. Today we'll look at a few Reddit stories, and if you like them, you can like, comment, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Today's story comes from the the Relationship Advice subreddit. It was posted by Throw a Barbie doll and was titled, "My husband says I changed after having kids, but I think he liked me better when I was just his Barbie doll. My nickname has been Barbie since I was a teenager. Back then, I was pretty thin-tan, had long blonde hair, and my signature color was pink. I was involved in beauty pageants from the time I was a kid through my early 20s, and the nickname was first given to me by people I knew in the pageant world. Somehow, over time, more people started calling me that, and by the time I was in high school, everyone called me that. My husband was the kin to my Barbie. In school, he was the popular guy, the prom king, and yes, he had blonde hair too, and a perfect smile. Once we met and got together, which wasn't until I was in college, everyone started calling us Barbie and Ken. We liked being the couple. I always thought our relationship was deeper than surface level, but I admit I liked the superficial parts of being together too. I liked being that couple. It was like part of my identity. I liked the image of who we were and how we looked together. We just celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary. Recently, I had 2 babies pretty much back to back. I got pregnant with my second when the first was under 6 months old, and they're 18 months and 4 months now. I feel like my entire sense of self has just disappeared. My days right now are basically feeding, washing, everything, nap schedules that don't line up, and running the same load of laundry 3 times because I keep forgetting to put it in the dryer on time. I know that's all normal for having really young kids. I live in oversized t-shirts. In fact, the one I've been wearing for days is an old Christmas-themed shirt of my husband's. I don't fit into any of my old clothes. I'm like 3 pants sizes bigger than before. I've tried buying new clothes, but nothing looks the same on me anymore, and I'm confused about what looks good on me when I used to be able to wear anything. What's really bothering me is the shift in how my husband and I interact. It's not like it's been big fights or anything like that. He eats dinner earlier now, usually standing at the kitchen counter while scrolling his phone. We talk less about anything personal. I don't think we really talk about anything personal anymore, actually. It's all logistics, like who's going to run and get diapers. If I bring up feeling overwhelmed, he just says I should try to get more sleep. When? We sit on the couch together at night, but barely actually talk. Nothing dramatic has happened. He still goes to work, he helps with the kids, he still says he loves me. But lately he started saying things like I've changed since having kids. He says I'm more emotional, more critical, harder to talk to, and not like the person he married. He's probably right in some ways. I just can't help thinking it's more than that, though. I feel like something changed in how he treats me when I stopped being the Barbie version of myself. Now I'm tired, messy, forgetful, behind on everything. I don't dress up, I don't wear makeup, my hair is never styled. I feel like I'm being seen and treated differently because of that. I don't know if this is just a normal adjustment period that would be expected for raising 2 babies under 2, or if there's something bigger going on. I'm really worried that it's a sign of something bigger that I just didn't see or didn't want to admit until now. I'm worried our relationship was always built on superficial things and an image and nothing deeper than that. This isn't even like a bad situation. It's difficult, but it should be a happy type of difficult. What would happen if we really had to go through something bad together in life? How do you tell the difference between just natural relationship changes after having kids and the idea that my relationship only worked when we were pretending to be these idealized version of ourselves, like props for the other person? Relevant comments. OOP replied to a few long comments. Reply 1. OP says, his life has obviously changed, but not nearly as much as mine. He's still pretty much the person he was before, able to do all of the same things he did before. He goes to work, goes to the gym, goes on 2-week-long work trips, still has time to take care of himself, is currently eating super healthy, but just making all this food for himself because it's such a restrictive diet that he says I wouldn't want to eat it or have the willpower to only eat what he's eating. I'm lucky if I even remember to eat breakfast or have time to eat something I pop in the micro for lunch. He still leaves most days before 6 a.m., so he can go to the gym, so that means I really get no help in the mornings. When he comes home, he does help with the kids, but not to the point where I can just be off for a few hours straight. We went to the grocery store together this week, as close as we got to date for a while. He will grocery shop by ordering groceries for delivery, but even then he can't just make the list by himself. I don't want to get a divorce, but there have been times recently where I've wondered if I picked a life partner based on all of the wrong reasons. I wasn't thinking about finding a man who would do the laundry and the cooking and take the kids to the park before. I didn't consider things that I probably should have considered, and I wish I had. I picked somebody based largely on stupid, surface-level things. Reply 2. Opie says, I don't really know how to quantify it. He helps when he gets home from work, but it's not to the extent where I feel like I can be off duty for any amount of time. I feel like for me, the kids are now number one, and for him, he's still number one. I went back to work after my first baby was born, but decided not to after the second. I don't crave being back at work. Once there were two, I actually found it easier to stay at home. It was less stressful than the logistics of 2 kids in daycare, for me and my brain at least. Commenter 1 says, if he hasn't changed since having children, then there is something wrong. What did he think would happen? You'd miraculously look and act exactly the same while growing, birthing, and caring for 2 tiny humans. He's an idiot. Opie replied. He and his life have changed far less than mine have. He just went and got his hair cut the other day, went clothes shopping, decided to go get his ear pierced on a whim. I'm like, I can't even think of this stuff right now. I'm not saying I don't want him to take care of himself or feel as frazzled as I feel, but it's like he doesn't seem to understand why I'm not doing the same things he is. Commenter 2 says, well, obviously, becoming a parent is the single most life-altering thing someone can do, and when you're the one who pushed the babies out of your body, it absolutely changes you. It's not clear whether your husband thought a stork would drop these kids off or something. But yes, you have to become a different person once other people's lives are depending on you. You will lose the weight with some effort, and if you're not planning on more babies, you'll eventually look like you once did. These things take time. Your husband just seems to have a very unrealistic theory of what it's like to have your body turned inside out by childbirth. Since you do have kids, the single most important thing is maintaining their family. If this doesn't improve, try some marriage counseling. Opie replied, he's on this new diet now himself. Not that he really had weight to lose, but it's all about the macros and fat to protein ratio and all that, and he's like obsessive about it right now. Sometimes he only eats 1 meal a day. He bought a new scale because our old one broke, and he keeps making me weigh myself. He also keeps suggesting changes to my diet I can make to lose a few pounds each week. I think he genuinely thinks he's helping me. Opie on an example, when she needed her husband's help with her children's appointments, and if he could make changes to his schedule to get more involved. Opie says, I know, I've heard stories from some other women who are stay-at-mother home, who say their husbands get up early before work and take care of the kids in the morning so she can get a little more sleep before she's on full-time parent duty alone for the whole day. I don't think I could believe it at first. My car was in the shop 2 weeks ago. I was without a car all week. I had appointments 2 of those mornings. One of them was just a routine checkup appointment for our daughter. Normally I'd do that solo. I even suggested just getting a rental car, but he said that was stupid and we'd go to the appointment together. He took me to both of the appointments I had that week. Toward the end of the week, he made a comment about how he missed his gym time because of me. Then he quickly realized what he said and tried to backtrack like, I mean, it wasn't your fault, it's fine. I can't really answer your questions, though. I don't know the answer. Is Opie afraid to ask her husband to make small changes to his daily routines? And how does she feel about that? Opie says, I don't know. I'm not afraid of him. I think I'm afraid of having to admit I can't handle it all, not being perfect, and so on. I know that's a me thing, not something he caused. I can't judge him for being image obsessed. I was too, and while those things aren't at the top of my priority list anymore, a lot of my identity was wrapped up in those things, and I still hold some of my self-worth in those things and don't like myself as much now that I don't look a certain way. I don't see him as controlling. I've never felt that way about him. Opie on if she will have more kids with her husband. Opie says, I don't plan to anytime soon. Our first baby was planned, the second was not. I'm on long-term birth control now. Commenter 3 says, raising 2 under 2 is a huge strain on a relationship. Not because it's anyone's fault, but because more often than not, one partner's entire life is baby-related, there's not a moment to even think about anything else. And then the other gets to go out, leave the house for work, talk to other adults, basically have a whole chunk of their day that isn't baby-related, and it's kind of like being in two different worlds. My husband tried to understand what I was dealing with so much, but he never really got it until he had to stay home for a while when I got sick and took over everything I would do. And for the record, you're supposed to change after having kids. But also, you're supposed to change as your life does. You're not going to be the same person you were in college. You grow. P.S. Don't stress about your body right now. You're postpartum, and your body is going to feel weird and different for a while. It won't always be that way, but right now you've got a ton of hormones running through your system. Hope you replied. We didn't mean to have two under two. I think it'd be so much easier if we just had one. Maybe things would at least feel more balanced, since I went back to work after having my first. It never felt like this when there was just one. Even when I was pregnant and taking care of just one baby, I was still able to feel somewhat like myself, still took care of myself and my appearance. I'm not saying I don't want my daughter to be here. My youngest is a girl and the oldest is a boy. I love her, and I don't blame her for the situation. The first pregnancy was planned, and then surprise a few months after he was born, I was pregnant again. We wanted more than one kid, but several years apart. When it happened like it did, we didn't consider ending the second pregnancy. We just decided, okay, our plans would change, and we'd knock having babies out all in one go. I don't know what drugs I was on to make me constantly think and say, having one more can't possibly be that much harder. I truly believed it wouldn't be as big of an adjustment as going from no babies to one baby. I was wrong, and I'm crying just typing all of that because I really do love my daughter and I don't regret having her. Opie on her sex life with her husband. Opie says, I know I'm only 4 months PP, but I thought I'd easily snap back. You hear about all of these other women who lose all the weight so quickly with breastfeeding. And I thought I was young and it'd be easy. I'm 30 pounds heavier than normal. I can't believe how much 30 pounds changes your entire body and how I'm 3 pant sizes bigger now. I just miss being able to go to the store or order stuff online and always know the size that'll fit me. Always know the types of clothes that look good and flatter me. I feel lost now. We still have sex. Obviously, with 2 babies, one being only 4 months old, it's not happening like it used to. He's not selfish in bed. He's never been that way. But he's still wanting to see all of me and give me oral sex and things like that. But I'm not in the mood for sex very often. It happens maybe 1 to 2 times a week. Update. I posted just 3 days ago, but I want to give an update because I took the comments to heart and decided to stop wallowing by myself and online and just come out and tell my husband how I've been feeling. I'm still getting comments on that post today, so I wanted to share what's changing. On Father's Day, we did some special stuff for Father's Day. He even semi-broke his diet for the special occasion, but only semi. In the afternoon, both babies were napping at the same time, which doesn't happen often despite my best efforts. He really wanted to have sex. We used to have sex all the time and still did pretty frequently after our son was born. My son is the oldest at 18 months and my daughter is 4 months. It only happens maybe 1 to 2 times a week now because I'm just tired and never in the mood. He has not been rejecting me sexually, and when it does happen, it's actually one thing he's not selfish about. If anything, I'm trying to turn it into a quickie and he wants to do everything to me. If I have free time, I want to sleep. So I resisted for a while, but he promised me he'd give me an amazing orgasm, which would help relax me. I figured, okay, it was Father's Day, but he better make good on his promise. We actually had fantastic sex, and I was so relaxed and sleepy afterwards. One of the kids woke up, and he told me to sleep, and he'd handle it. I ended up sleeping for 3 hours straight in the middle of the day, and it was divine. I woke up from that nap and realized I should be getting these naps every weekend. I should be getting more breaks and time to myself. I don't know why it's been so hard for me to voice that. I know that part of me wanted him to realize it himself without being told. I wanted him to offer or step up or whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to have to tell him. I was probably being too stubborn about that. I woke up from the nap, and when I went out to the living room, I told him immediately that I need a nap like that every weekend. He said okay. I said no. I'm serious. And he needs to promise me he'll let me sleep for a few hours uninterrupted every weekend day when he's home. He said okay, like it was nothing. And I just kept going. I told him I need more help. Not outside help, as I'm not comfortable with people coming into the house and cleaning or taking care of my kids when I'm there. I want him to do it. I want him to either wake up in the morning and do some chores before he goes to the gym, even if that means he has to wake up at 4 a.m. now. Because I'm up at that time. I don't even want to go to the gym. But if he wants me to look like I used to, I'd like to be able to be up at 4 a.m. riding the Peloton while he does chores or take care of anyone who is awake and needs fed or changed during that time. He just said, I can do that, like it was nothing. I asked him if it's nothing, why am I having to ask for it? He said he just didn't think of it. He's not a mind reader. I don't expect him to be a mind reader, but how hard is it to comprehend that your wife, who is with your 2 babies all day long, might need a little more help? Yesterday, when he got home from work, I was dressed and ready to go. He walked in the door, and I told him I was going to get my hair done, and I'd be home whenever. Didn't know how long it'd take. Give him a rundown on who had last ate and been changed and napped and went and by. He'd have to text me once or twice to ask where some things were, but everything was fine. I decided that I don't need to keep trying to be the same me with the same look I've had for years. I got about 7 inches cut off my hair. I haven't had my hair done professionally in over 6 months, and I used to be there all the time, like every 2 months. I just wanted something that actually looked styled and cute, plus it's still below my shoulders, so it's not super short, but easier to maintain now. I walked in the door, and he was like, "You look like a mom." It didn't feel good, but at the same time, I just told him I'm a mom, and if he doesn't like it, that's tough. He's the one who made me a mom. He said he was just joking, and he liked it. It looked really good. I don't know if I believe him, but I like it, and that should be all that matters. Tonight, I told him, 1, I need him to do some chores, and I'm making him a chore chart like he's a little boy. He said that was okay, and he admitted he is like a little boy and needs told what to do. I told him that whatever sort of wacky diet eating, like 500 calories a day, he wants to do is whatever, but he needs to start helping prepare food for me because I'm not eating well and I'm not losing weight and I want to lose weight. I told him I don't really want to step on the scale in front of him, though. He said I was the one who kept going on about being fat and wanting to lose weight. He's not wrong. I've already told him that tomorrow we're having a serious conversation about all of this, what we both need from each other right now when he gets home from work. I had originally told him I want to do that tonight, but he had to work until 7 tonight, so I knew I'd be too tired and likely right in the middle of my son's bedtime routine when he got home. So tomorrow is when I'm going to really put it all on the table. I'm not ready to say anything like I'm considering divorce or will divorce him if XYZ doesn't happen. That'd be a lie. I'm not even thinking of divorce. The only reason I'm even mentioning divorce here is because there were several comments about it on my previous post. But if you were me, what would you say and what would you ask of your partner? Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "Welp, you're going to push him out of this marriage by loading up on years of frustrations and demanding he change everything at once. Take responsibility for your own diet and exercise program." Why is that his responsibility? You both should be cooking reasonable family meals as your kids grow up. It's great that you stated your beds and he accepted them. Honestly, though, why do you get a 3-hour weekend nap? What if he demanded the same? Why, when you get up at 4 a.m., you are doing something for yourself, but he has to do chores? And then after that, he does what? Heads to work to support the family? Very, very strange. What should you do in this next conversation? Recognize what he has done so far and show appreciation. Unload again after several days of this? I'll see one of you in my office soon. I'm a divorce attorney. Hope you replied. No, I don't want it to be just me unloading. I want it to be a two-way convo. I also don't feel like I have years of resentment towards him. I'm not asking him to be in charge of my diet and exercise. I can exercise myself. I just need to be able to have some sort of routine, which means having a specific time in the day I know is mine, and he's got the kids covered. He's already prepping meals for himself. He's on a crazy diet right now. As of right now, he's eaten 200 calories today, and it's after 8 at night. I might want to do that, but if he's prepping healthy meals, he could put something in a container for me. He's the one asking me to get on the scale and weigh myself. I'm taking care of 2 babies at home by myself all day. That's why I'm asking for some more help from him. He's complained that I've changed, and if he wants me to be more like how I used to be, I need his help. He currently wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes to the gym before going to work. He already gets up super early, and he does it for himself. He enjoys the gym. I'm not trying to take that away from him. I just need a little time carved out for me. Commenter 2 says, amazing progress and incredible how he's said okay to everything. But are you going on 3 days in a row of, we need to have a serious conversation when you get home? Slow down, girl. Give him a chance to change his behavior. Don't dump on him and blow up your whole life because of something that will take time to correct. Going to be a lot harder on you if he leaves you. Hope you replied, we haven't been having serious conversations each day. I wouldn't say there's really been any conversation. Just me telling him things. He's not going to leave. Commenter 3 says, look up information on the mental load. Basically, him saying that you have to tell him what to do is putting the mental load back onto you, and that just doesn't help when you're already overwhelmed. Now you have to manage somebody else as well as the kids. Hope you replied, yeah, I don't want to have to do a chore chart. I would prefer if he would have realized things that needed to be done or thought of ways he could help without being told. I've finally accepted that he literally doesn't seem to even think about it or know what to do in that regard. He's not against helping, but I have to specifically ask. It's not perfect, but if he's receptive, hopefully he'll start to get a better grasp on all those little things that need done and can start initiating himself. Opie responds to a longer comment regarding having teamwork with her husband without her bothering him too much about helping her out. Opie says, what in the world? I don't think I'm that hard to please. I don't expect him to be a mind reader at all. I just think it'd be nice if he could think of some things to do for me or around the house or when it comes to the kids on his own without needing to be told specifically what needs done. Or if he truly doesn't know what to do, to at least ask what he could do to help. He's an adult and an equal parent, so he should understand things that need done around the house or basic needs our children have that he could offer to do in the evenings. I don't think that's expecting too much. I've learned that plenty of men are like that, but mine isn't. I admittedly wasn't looking for that when we got together. I didn't consider many things when we got together. I do like him for more than surface level things. I like a lot about his personality and who he is beyond the physical, but I won't lie. We got together for pretty shallow reasons, and I placed importance on really shallow things without fully realizing it. He has me time. Just the other day, he decided to go out clothes shopping, got his hair cut, got his ear pierced randomly. I'm not mad about that. He relaxes most of the night when he's home after work. I'm not saying he has to give every second of that up. I just think there's a way to ensure we both get me time to do the things that make us feel good. It seems a bit lopsided right now. I don't think I've degraded him at all. He's the one that got little puppy dog eyes and was like, yeah, I'm like a little boy, you just need to tell me what to do. He thought it was funny, yet admitted it was also true. He definitely didn't seem insulted. I think there comes a point where if you want to be treated like a man, you first have to act like one. Opie on her weight and how her husband is reacting to it. Opie says, I'm insecure about gaining weight. I'm about 30 pounds heavier than normal, and I don't like how I feel or look. But he's the one making me weigh myself on the scale. He's the one making comments about how I've changed. Opie responds to a comment about the timeline of having kids. Opie says, yes, we plan to have 2 to 3 kids. Our first was planned. We didn't really have conversations about who would be doing what though. It just didn't occur to me to have those talks. Everything felt easier then. I went back to work after my maternity leave, and I wasn't nearly as tired and overwhelmed then. The second pregnancy was not planned to happen then. We had planned to wait several years before having another baby, but it ended up happening. I didn't plan to quit working when I did, so we hadn't really been having these ongoing conversations about how things would look with me staying home. Then when it did happen, I felt like I could handle it all, and I wanted to handle it all on my own. I felt like I should be able to. I quit my job and felt like I had to take everything on to prove myself or something. A lot of it was me, not him making me feel that way. Opie clarifies on having sex several times a week with her husband. Opie replied, I should probably clarify that I'm not having sex 1 to 2 times a week out of some sort of obligation to my husband. I like sex. We're very compatible sexually. He wouldn't complain if suddenly I wanted to go back to having it nearly every day, but he's not nagging me about it. He initiated more often than it actually happens, and he easily accepts a no and moves on most times. These days, I'm not in the mood for any sort of long, drawn-out sessions, though. I'm happy that we both get an orgasm, and I don't want to take forever to get there. I'm not trying to hurry it because I don't want to do it. I'm hurrying it because I don't have that much energy and my time is limited, especially in moments where both are sleeping. Since my second baby was born 4 months ago, we've had maybe 10 to 12 times. Even during my second pregnancy, it was much more frequent than that. Perhaps it isn't typical, but I don't think it's crazy. This feels pretty good for us based on what things used to be like. Opie on having outside chores. Opie says, "My husband doesn't do any of the outdoor chores. He absolutely hates it. I like making the yard pretty. I own more yard equipment and tools than he does, but yes, I have a pink toolbox and a pink and white shed I keep all that crap in. I'm not criticizing him for not doing it. I've always known he hates that stuff and would basically do any inside chore before ever having to do things outside. Only task he likes doing outside is grilling.